The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the mining vessel Ironheart. Red warning lights flashed across the ship's bridge as Captain Mark Roberts stared at the readings on his main screen. His crew of 15 had been tracking unusual energy signatures for the past 3 days, far beyond their usual mining route in the Kuiper Belt. "Captain, those energy readings are getting stronger," said Jack, the ship's sensor operator. His fingers moved quickly across the holographic display, adjusting the sensors for a better reading. "Whatever it is, it's massive." The Ironheart pushed forward through a dense field of asteroids, its reinforced hull designed to withstand the harsh conditions of deep space mining. As they cleared a particularly large asteroid, the entire bridge crew fell silent. Before them floated what could only be described as a fleet of alien ships. Dozens of massive vessels, their designs unlike anything human eyes had ever seen, drifted motionless among the asteroids. Their hulls seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly metallic finish that changed colors as the distant sunlight hit them. "My God," whispered Roberts, standing from his captain's chair. "Get me a full scan. Now." The crew worked quickly, their training kicking in despite the extraordinary situation. The initial scan showed over 30 ships, ranging from small corvette-sized vessels to enormous carriers that dwarfed the largest human spacecraft ever built. But something was wrong. The ships were dark, with only minimal power signatures registering on their instruments. "Sir, I'm detecting life signs," reported Lisa, the medical officer. Her eyes widened as she processed the data. Thousands of them. But their life support systems appear to be failing. Roberts made a quick decision. Send out the universal greeting beacon. All frequencies, all known formats. Minutes passed like hours as they waited for a response. Finally, their communications array lit up. A stream of complex mathematical sequences filled their screens, followed by simple geometric shapes. A clear attempt at basic communication. "They're trying to establish a common language," said Mike, the communications officer. "Using math as a universal constant. Smart." Over the next few hours, the human crew worked tirelessly to establish basic communication. Through a series of mathematical exchanges and simple visual signals, they began to understand the aliens' dire situation. Their fleet had encountered some kind of spatial anomaly that had damaged their primary systems. They were stranded, their highly advanced technology rendered useless by something they didn't understand. "Their life support systems are running on emergency power," Lisa reported, her voice tense. "By my estimates, they have less than 2 weeks before they start failing completely." Roberts looked at the alien fleet through the main viewport. Despite their advanced technology, these beings were about to face death in the cold vastness of space. He thought about the 15 souls aboard his own ship, how tiny they were compared to this situation. But he also knew that humanity had always faced impossible odds with courage and determination. "Send a message to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them we've made first contact, and we're declaring an emergency rescue situation. Request immediate assistance from all available ships in the sector." As the message was sent, the Ironheart received another transmission from the alien fleet. This time, it was a visual. A simple image showing their ship's failing systems and a clear request for help. "Send them back a confirmation," Roberts said firmly. "Let them know we understand, and we're not going anywhere." The crew worked through the next several hours, establishing better communication protocols and gathering more data about the alien situation. They learned that the fleet carried over 10,000 beings. Their ship's advanced quantum drive systems had been rendered inoperable by some kind of spatial distortion, and their automated systems were failing one by one. As the first day of contact drew to a close, Roberts stood on the bridge, watching his crew work with a sense of pride. They had trained for mining operations, not first contact or rescue missions. Yet here they were, facing both situations with determination and professionalism. "Sir," called Jack from his station. "Long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships heading our way. It's the rescue fleet from Earth. They'll be here in 3 days. Roberts nodded, his eyes still fixed on the alien vessels. He knew that what happened next would define not just his crew's legacy, but humanity's first steps into a larger galactic community. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them with the same spirit that had taken humanity from Earth's surface to the stars. The rescue mission was about to begin. 3 days had passed since first contact, and the mining vessel Ironheart's small cargo bay now served as an impromptu command center. 6 rescue ships had arrived from Earth, bringing with them some of humanity's best engineers and scientists. Among them was James Cooper, a veteran engineer known for solving the impossible. Cooper stood before a holographic display of the alien fleet's engine systems, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the projections. What he saw both amazed and worried him. The alien ships used technology far beyond human understanding, engines that bent the fabric of space itself. "It's incredible," he muttered, zooming in on one of the schematics they'd received from the alien fleet. "But that's exactly the problem." "What do you mean?" asked Captain Roberts, who had been watching from the corner of the cargo bay. Cooper turned to face the growing crowd of human engineers and ship captains. Their quantum drives don't just use advanced technology. They rely on it completely. There's no backup system, no secondary power source. When that spatial anomaly hit them, it changed the local physics just enough to make their entire propulsion system useless. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The aliens' technology was so advanced that it had become their greatest weakness. They had no simpler systems to fall back on, no redundancies that could work in their current situation. "What about our fusion drives?" suggested Linda Ross, chief engineer of one of the rescue ships. "They're not as efficient, but they're reliable. Could we adapt them somehow?" Cooper's eyes lit up. "That's exactly what I was thinking. Their ships are bigger, but the principles are the same. We might not be able to fix their quantum drives, but we could give them enough power to reach the nearest safe port." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the human engineers developed their plan. They would need to modify their own fusion reactors to work with the alien power systems, a task that seemed impossible at first glance. The alien representatives, communicating through their improving but still basic translation system, were skeptical. Their expressions, though alien, clearly showed doubt when the humans explained their plan to use what they considered primitive technology. "Look," Cooper explained, using diagrams and simple physics equations to overcome the language barrier. "Your quantum drives are like a perfect dancer, beautiful and efficient, but if they sprain their ankle, they can't perform. Our fusion drives are like a person walking, not as elegant, but they can still get where they're going, even with a limp." The lead alien engineer, whom the humans had started calling gray due to their silvery skin tone, studied the diagrams carefully. After several moments, they made a series of gestures that their translator interpreted as reluctant agreement. As the human engineers began their work, they faced challenge after challenge. The alien power systems operated on principles they barely understood. More than once, a miscalculation led to sparks flying and emergency shutdowns. "The problem isn't just technical," Cooper explained to Captain Roberts during a brief break. "Their entire engineering philosophy is different. They've automated everything, removed the need for manual controls. We need to build interfaces that their crews can actually use." Roberts watched through a viewport as space-suited human engineers worked on the hull of the nearest alien ship. "Can it be done?" Cooper wiped sweat from his forehead. "It has to be. Their life support systems are failing faster than we initially thought. We have maybe 10 days before the situation becomes critical." Just then, alarms blared throughout both human and alien ships. Gray rushed into the cargo bay, their translator squawking urgently. One of the smaller alien vessels was experiencing a cascade failure in its life support systems. "Everyone to their stations," Roberts commanded. "Begin emergency evacuation procedures for the compromised vessel." As chaos erupted around them, Cooper stared at his diagrams, a new idea forming. "Captain," he called out, I think I know how we can speed this up, but it's going to require taking some risks with our own ship's systems. Roberts looked at the engineer, then at the alien vessel where hundreds of lives hung in the balance. Whatever you need, you've got it. Let's show them what humans can do when our backs are against the wall. The rescue mission had just become a race against time. Chaos erupted across the rescue fleet as warning sirens blared through every ship. The failing alien vessel, designated as Ship 7, was rapidly losing power to its life support systems. Through the viewports, its once shimmering hull had grown dark, with only occasional flickers of emergency lighting visible through its windows. "How many are on board?" Cooper demanded, rushing through the corridors of the Iron Heart with a portable engineering kit strapped to his back. Linda Ross checked her tablet as she ran alongside him. 312 aliens. Their artificial gravity is failing. They're losing atmosphere in sections. The human rescue ships had moved into position around Ship 7, extending their emergency docking tubes, a technology that suddenly seemed precious in its simplicity. Unlike the aliens' complex matter transfer systems, these were just reinforced tunnels that could attach to almost any hull. "We can't evacuate them all through airlocks," Cooper said, reaching the Iron Heart's cargo bay. "Not in time." He stopped at a massive mining laser, used for cutting through asteroids. A dangerous idea formed in his mind. Captain Roberts appeared behind them. "Whatever you're thinking, make it fast." Cooper pointed at the mining laser. "We can modify this to cut a direct access point between ships. Their hull material is tough, but our mining equipment is designed to cut through denser asteroids." Roberts didn't hesitate. "Do it." Within minutes, the Iron Heart's cargo bay became a hive of activity. Engineers from all 6 rescue ships worked together, modifying the mining laser for its new purpose. They mounted it on a mobile platform, testing the beam intensity on samples of alien hull material they'd collected earlier. Through the observation windows, they could see space-suited human rescue teams already entering Ship 7 through the traditional airlocks, but the process was too slow. The aliens' complex internal layout made navigation difficult, and their doors weren't designed for emergency manual operation. "Ready," Cooper called out, as the modified mining laser hummed to life. The Iron Heart had maneuvered directly alongside Ship 7, keeping pace with its gentle drift. The laser fired, its beam precisely controlled to cut through the alien hull without causing explosive decompression. Sparks flew in the vacuum of space as human engineering overcame alien technology. Within minutes, they had created a large, circular opening connecting both ships. "Emergency bridges, now," Roberts ordered. Teams of engineers rushed forward, deploying expandable emergency bridges, another primitive human technology that was proving invaluable. The bridges unfolded across the gap between ships, creating direct evacuation routes. Gray appeared at Cooper's side, their alien features showing what humans had learned to recognize as amazement. The translator conveyed their message. "Your mining tools, they work better than our emergency systems. Sometimes the simple solutions are the best," Cooper replied, but there was no time for further discussion. The evacuation began in earnest. Human rescue teams guided alien civilians across the emergency bridges, while engineers worked to stabilize Ship 7's hailing systems. The aliens, despite their advanced civilization, showed very human reactions to the crisis: fear, confusion, and gratitude to their rescuers. "Power spike," someone shouted. Ship 7's remaining systems were beginning to cascade. The entire vessel shuddered. "Everyone out now," Roberts commanded. The evacuation speed doubled as both humans and aliens realized the severity of the situation. Cooper and a team of engineers remained aboard Ship 7, working desperately to prevent a complete system failure that could damage nearby vessels. Their spacesuits, designed for the harsh conditions of asteroid mining, protected them as the environment around them deteriorated. "Last group coming through," Linda called over the radio. Cooper looked at his alien counterpart, Gray, who had insisted on staying to help. Together, They initiated an emergency shutdown of Ship 7's remaining systems. As they turned to leave, a power conduit exploded behind them, sending debris flying in the zero-gravity environment. Without hesitation, Cooper pushed Gray toward the emergency bridge, using his bulkier mining suit to shield them from the debris. They crossed the bridge just as Ship 7's last systems failed, plunging the vessel into complete darkness. As medical teams attended to the evacuees in the Iron Heart's cargo bay, Roberts approached Cooper, who was having a cut on his arm treated. "That mining laser idea," Roberts said, "it wasn't in any emergency protocol I've ever seen." Cooper managed a tired smile. "That's because sometimes you have to stop thinking about how things are supposed to work and start thinking about how they could work." The aliens watched this exchange with new understanding. Perhaps these humans, with their primitive technology and unconventional solutions, had more to teach them than they had initially thought. In the days following Ship 7's evacuation, a strange new routine developed aboard the human rescue fleet. The cargo bays and common areas of all 7 human ships now housed hundreds of aliens, creating an unprecedented opportunity for cultural exchange. The Iron Heart's mess hall had become a center of activity, where off-duty human crew members and their alien guests attempted to learn from each other. Makeshift displays showed side-by-side translations as both species worked to improve their communication. Cooper sat at a table with Gray and several other aliens, sharing a meal. The humans had quickly learned that their guests could eat most carbon-based foods, though they preferred them in liquid form. Gray held a cup of what the humans called engineered soup, studying it with obvious curiosity. "Your food preparation is interesting," Gray's translator conveyed. "You still cook manually?" Cooper nodded, sipping his coffee. "We find that automated systems can't always adapt to personal preferences. Plus, there's something satisfying about making things with your own hands." Nearby, Linda Ross was explaining the concept of manual override systems to a group of alien engineers. She had disassembled a standard airlock control panel, showing how it could be operated even without power. "See, you can still open it with mechanical force," she demonstrated, turning a heavy lever. "No computer required." The aliens exchanged looks of surprise. Their own ships had no such backups. Every system was controlled by their advanced AI networks, which now lay dormant due to the spatial anomalies effects. Captain Roberts entered the mess hall, accompanied by the alien fleet's commander, whom the crew had nicknamed Blue for their deeper-colored skin tone. They had spent hours together, sharing information about their respective civilizations. "Your species is young," Blue's translator hummed, "but you have a remarkable drive to survive. Our historical records show that most civilizations abandon manual controls once they develop AI systems." Roberts smiled. "We've learned that having options is never a bad thing. Our eyes are tools, not replacements." As they talked, an alien child approached their table, holding what appeared to be a simple mechanical puzzle that one of the human crew members had shared. The child had spent hours figuring out how to solve it without using their species' usual neural interfaces. "This is what fascinates me." Blue gestured toward the child. "Your technology requires participation, understanding. Our children are taught to interface with AI systems, but rarely understand the principles behind them." The conversation was interrupted by a maintenance alert. One of the temporary bridges between ships needed adjustment. The humans watched in surprise as several aliens volunteered to help with the manual labor, something that would have been automated on their own ships. "They're learning," Cooper observed to Gray, "just as we're learning from them." Gray nodded, their translator conveying a mixture of humility and admiration. "We had forgotten something important. In our pursuit of advancement, we lost touch with the fundamental principles that made that advancement possible." Throughout the rescue fleet, similar scenes played out. Alien engineers watched in fascination as humans repaired equipment with basic tools. Human scientists listened intently as aliens explained theoretical concepts that would revolutionize human understanding of physics. In the Iron Heart's makeshift classroom, An alien scientist drew complex equations on a whiteboard, another primitive tool they had come to appreciate. They were explaining the basics of their quantum drive technology, while human engineers asked questions that made them reconsider principles they had taken for granted. "It's not just about fixing their ships anymore," Roberts said to Cooper as they watched the exchange. "We're building something more important here." Cooper agreed. Trust. Understanding. They came here thinking they were far advanced beyond us, but now they're seeing strength in our simplicity. As the day cycle wound down, the mess hall remained active. Humans and aliens sat together, sharing stories through their improved translators. Someone had taught the aliens the game of chess, and several matches were in progress. The aliens were fascinated by the game's blend of strategy and limited options, so different from their AI-driven simulations. "You know what this reminds me of?" Linda said, joining Cooper and Roberts. "The old stories of different cultures meeting on Earth, how they learned from each other, grew stronger together." Roberts watched as an alien carefully moved a chess piece, their human opponent nodding in approval at the clever move. Maybe that's what space exploration is really about. Not just finding new worlds, but finding new perspectives. In that moment, despite their differences, both species felt the beginning of something significant. A bridge being built not between ships, but between civilizations. The first warning came from the Iron Heart's long-range sensors. Cooper was reviewing engineering reports when the alert sounded across all ships. Racing to the bridge, he found Captain Roberts already studying the sensor data with a grim expression. "Solar storm," Roberts said without looking up. "A big one. Heading straight for us." The display showed a massive wave of solar radiation approaching their position. Under normal circumstances, both human and alien ships would simply activate their shields and weather the storm. But these weren't normal circumstances. "The alien fleet's shields are tied to their main power systems," Cooper said, realizing the implications. "They're running on emergency power only." Blue and Gray arrived on the bridge moments later, their translators conveying their concern as they viewed the sensor data. "Our backup shields can only handle 20% of this radiation level," Gray's translator crackled. "The automated systems that usually reinforce them are offline." Linda Ross burst onto the bridge, her tablet displaying shield calculations. "It gets worse. That spatial anomaly that disabled their quantum drives. It's made their hull materials more susceptible to radiation. They'll be hit harder than normal." Roberts looked out the viewport at the scattered fleet of alien ships, over 10,000 lives, now threatened by one of space's most common dangers. The solar storm would reach them in less than 6 hours. "What about our shields?" Cooper asked suddenly. "The mining vessels are built to withstand intense radiation from unstable asteroids." Linda nodded. "Our shields are simpler, but more robust. They're designed to run at full power even with minimal systems online." "Could we extend our shield coverage?" Roberts asked, an idea forming. Cooper and Linda exchanged looks. "Maybe," Cooper said. "If we position our ships carefully, we might be able to create a shield wall. It won't be pretty, but it could work." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The 7 human ships began moving into precise positions around the alien fleet. Their plan was to create an overlapping barrier of shield coverage, using their more resilient human technology to protect the vulnerable alien vessels. "Each ship will need to maintain exact position," Linda explained to the gathered human captains and alien leaders. "The slightest drift could create gaps in the coverage." "The drain on our shield generators will be enormous," another captain pointed out. "We've never run them at this capacity for an extended period." "We have no choice," Roberts replied. "We're their only chance." As the storm approached, the human ships formed a protective arc around the alien fleet. The Iron Heart took the center position, its mining shields the strongest of the group. Emergency power was diverted to the shield generators, pushing them far beyond their designed limits. "Storm approaching," Jack announced from his sensor station. "Impact in 10 minutes." The first wave hit like a physical blow. The human ships shuddered as their shields absorbed the intense radiation. Warning alarms blared as shield generators strained under the unprecedented load. "Shield status," Roberts demanded. "Holding at 80%, Linda reported. "But the generators are heating up fast. We need to rotate the shield frequencies to prevent burnout." Inside the alien ships, passengers and crew watched in amazement as the smaller human vessels protected them. The primitive technology they had initially dismissed was now their lifeline. "Generator 3 is failing," someone shouted. One of the human ships in the defensive line was losing shield power. Without hesitation, Cooper rushed to the engineering controls, rerouting emergency power from life support. "That'll leave only 12 hours of air," Linda warned. "Better than instant radiation exposure," Cooper replied, his fingers flying over the controls. The storm intensified. Through the viewports, space itself seemed to shimmer with deadly energy. The human ship's shields glowed bright blue under the strain, creating a spectacular but terrifying display. "Multiple shield generators approaching critical levels," Linda reported, her voice tense. Roberts watched as his crew fought to maintain their protective barrier. The aliens had gathered on their observation decks, watching the human ships weather the storm for their sake. Whatever doubts they had about human technology were being erased by this display of determination and engineering. "How long until the storm passes?" Roberts asked. "At least 4 more hours," Jack replied. "Maybe longer." Cooper looked up from his engineering station, his face illuminated by the red warning lights. "The real question is, can our generators last that long?" As if in answer, another alarm began to sound. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the Iron Heart as the solar storm raged around them. The shield generators, pushed far beyond their safety limits, screamed in protest. 4 hours had passed, and 3 of the 7 human ships were now operating on minimal life support to maintain their protective barrier around the alien fleet. "Generator 5 is about to fail," Linda shouted over the noise of straining machinery. Sparks flew from a nearby control panel as another circuit overloaded. Cooper rushed to the engineering station, his hands moving quickly across the controls. Rerouting power from cargo bay systems. The lights in the lower decks dimmed, but the shield generator's warning tone stabilized. Through the viewports, they could see the other human ships holding their positions, their shields glowing bright blue against the storm. Each vessel was a vital part of their protective wall, and if one failed, it could doom them all. Gray stood at a console beside Cooper, watching the humans work with intense focus. Their translator crackled with static from the radiation as they spoke. "Your technology. It's not elegant, but it endures. Our systems would have failed hours ago." Linda managed a grim smile as she bypassed another failing circuit. Sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one. "Here, help me with this manual override." To everyone's surprise, Gray quickly grasped the mechanical principles of the human systems. Other aliens joined in, learning to operate the manual controls that kept the shields running. Their natural technical aptitude, combined with human practical knowledge, proved to be a powerful combination. "Hull temperature rising," Jack reported from his station. "The radiation is starting to bleed through." Captain Roberts studied the sensor readings. "Can we reinforce the shields?" "Not without completely shutting down life support," Cooper replied. Then he noticed something on his display. "Wait, the aliens' secondary power cells. They're different from their main systems." Gray leaned forward, understanding Cooper's thought. "Yes, they operate on simpler principles. They weren't affected by the spatial anomaly. If we can link them to our shield generators," Cooper began, "we could boost our power output." Linda finished, "But we'd need to modify the connections manually out there in the storm." Roberts looked at his crew. The radiation levels between ships would be dangerous, even with protective suits. "Any volunteers?" Every hand in the room went up, human and alien alike. Teams were quickly assembled, wearing the heaviest radiation suits available. Human engineers and alien technicians ventured out into the storm. They worked together, running power conduits between vessels, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Power levels stabilizing, Linda reported as the first connections were completed. Shield strength increasing to 90%. But the storm wasn't done with them yet. A massive surge of radiation struck the fleet, more powerful than anything they'd seen so far. Warning alarms blared across all ships. "We're losing the starboard shield grid," someone shouted. Without hesitation, Cooper grabbed a radiation suit. "I'm going out there. We need to manually reconnect the power relays." Gray stepped forward. "I'm going with you." Together, they ventured into the storm. The radiation made their suits' sensors scream in warning, but they pressed on. Working side by side, human and alien, they fought to keep the shields online. Inside the ships, both species watched in amazement. The aliens had never considered that their backup power cells could be used this way, while the humans marveled at how well the alien technology integrated with their systems once properly connected. Hours passed as the storm slowly began to weaken. The combined shield network held, protected by both human determination and alien technology. When the last wave of radiation finally passed, a cheer went up throughout the fleet. As Cooper and Gray returned to the Iron Heart's bridge, exhausted but successful, Captain Roberts met them with a tired smile. "Well done, both of you." Gray's translator conveyed their response. "We have learned much from you humans. Our civilization's path to advancement made us forget the importance of understanding basic principles, of being able to touch, to fix, to adapt." Linda checked the final damage reports. "The human ship's systems are battered but repairable. And look at this. The manual controls we installed on the alien vessels actually kept some of their systems running through the storm." Cooper nodded. "Sometimes the strongest systems are the ones simple enough to fix with your own hands." The storm had taught both species a valuable lesson. Advanced technology was powerful, but true resilience came from understanding the fundamentals and being able to adapt when things went wrong. 2 weeks had passed since the solar storm. The combined fleet of human and alien vessels floated in a more stable region of space, where human engineers and alien technicians worked together to implement lasting solutions to the aliens' technical problems. The Iron Heart's cargo bay, once a simple storage area, had become a symbol of cooperation between the two species. Cooper watched as human workers installed manual override systems throughout the alien fleet, while alien engineers integrated some of their simpler technologies into human ships. "It's like watching two different engineering philosophies merge," Linda said, standing beside him. She pointed to where Gray was teaching a group of human engineers about their backup power cells, while simultaneously learning about human mechanical systems. Captain Roberts in blue stood on the observation deck, watching the work progress. The translator had been significantly improved over the past weeks, allowing for more nuanced communication. "Your people have changed our understanding of progress," Blue's translator conveyed. "We thought advancement meant moving away from physical interaction with our technology. We were wrong." Roberts nodded. "And your knowledge is helping us improve our own systems. Those power cells of yours, combined with our manual controls, they're more efficient than anything we've ever built." The retrofit of the alien fleet was nearly complete. Each ship now had a combination of their original quantum technology and human backup systems. Manual controls had been installed throughout their vessels, allowing crews to operate critical systems even if their AI networks failed. Testing the new emergency protocols, Linda announced over the comm system. Throughout the alien fleet, crews practiced using the manual overrides, learning to trust their hands as much as their computers. Cooper approached a group of alien children who were learning to operate a simple mechanical airlock. Their natural curiosity, once limited to digital interfaces, now extended to understanding how things physically worked. "They're adapting faster than the adults," Gray observed, joining Cooper. "Already they ask questions we stopped asking generations ago. How things work, why they work, not just that they work." The success of the rescue mission had attracted attention from both civilizations. Earth had sent diplomatic vessels, while the alien homeworld had dispatched representatives to discuss a formal alliance. In the Ironheart's conference room, human and alien leaders gathered to sign the first draft of what they called the Practical Technology Treaty. Its core principle was simple: all future developments would maintain a balance between advanced automation and basic operational understanding. "This goes beyond just fixing ships," Roberts said to Cooper as they watched the signing ceremony. "We're helping each other grow stronger." An alien child demonstrated their understanding of this new philosophy by showing the leaders a small device they had built, a fusion of alien quantum circuits and human mechanical parts. It was less elegant than pure alien technology, but far more resilient. "Look at this," Linda called out from her engineering station. She displayed readings from the modified alien ships. "Their power efficiency has actually improved since we added the manual systems. Turns out having multiple operation methods creates better overall performance." The alien fleet was nearly ready to resume their journey. Their quantum drives, while still affected by the spatial anomaly, were now supplemented by human fusion technology. It wasn't as fast as their original systems, but it was reliable. "We would be honored," Blue said to Roberts, "if some of your engineers would continue working with us. There is much more we can learn from each other." Cooper and several other human engineers had already volunteered to accompany the alien fleet. In return, some aliens, including Gray, would remain with the human ships to help implement their technology safely. As the two fleets prepared to part ways, the Ironheart's mess hall hosted one final gathering. Humans and aliens shared meals, stories, and ideas. The chessboards were now accompanied by both species games, creating new hybrid challenges that combine different strategic approaches. "You know what impresses me most?" Linda said to Cooper as they watched the celebrations. Both sides admitted they had something to learn. "That's rare in any civilization." Roberts raised his glass in a toast, which the aliens had learned to appreciate as a human custom. "To the future," he said, "where we move forward not by abandoning our foundations, but by building upon them together." The aliens responded with their own gesture of respect, and the translator wasn't needed to convey the meaning. They had arrived as stranded travelers, and were leaving as allies, each species enriched by the other's knowledge. What had started as a rescue mission had become something far more significant, a reminder that true advancement comes not from replacing the old with the new, but from understanding how to use both together.